Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. It's Sarah here. Today we are going to winterize the chicken coop and run. It's snowing. I didn't beat the snow, but you know, what can you do? This is Wisconsin. All right, let's get to it. At the very least, we want to cover the two sides in which you get your wind from. For us, that is the north and west corner of our run. There's a few different ways that you could go about covering the run to create a windbreak for your chickens, and they vary in price. We're going with this. This is a 4 mil thick drop cloth that is 9 feet by 12 feet, and there's 2 of them in here, and we paid about $13 at Menards. Now you could buy clear tarps. Those are significantly more expensive, or you could use a corrugated plastic clear panels and put those along the sides of your run to give it a more of a greenhouse look, I guess, and that would knock up the price as well. We don't need anything fancy, so we're just going to go with the most inexpensive and easiest route, and that is by putting up this thick plastic. Menards also sells larger rolls in boxes. It's visqueen, and I think it's about 100 feet that comes in that, and that ranges in price, you know, between $50 and $60 depending on the thickness. You can get up to 6 mil thick, but we had this, and this is 4 mil. We have another roll that was already opened, so we just ended up buying another one of the same thickness because it won't be enough to go all the way around, and we wanted to keep it the same. We're just going to start by unrolling this just a little bit. And obviously this would be easier with 2 people. I'm just going to use a stapler to attach this. And we don't want to go all the way up to the top. We want to come down slightly because we want to leave an area where we can have airflow. Otherwise, if we enclose this entire thing and we don't leave a space for ventilation at the top, too much moisture can build up inside of the run. Same idea as when you build your coop. You want to be able to have some of that ventilation so that that moisture can escape, because if it gets too moist inside there, then your chickens are more likely to get frostbite, and we do not want that. So I'm just going to start right here on this end where my main part of my run ends. We do have a raised coop, so the run extends underneath the coop as well. I will come along through there afterwards with a shorter piece, just, you know, so it's easier. I'm going to start here. And I think I'm going to fold my plastic over like this towards me and attach it, so that way during winter, if by chance it starts getting too windy and this is wanting to kind of tear down or, you know, blow off, I can come through and maybe stick, you know, maybe some furring strips or something underneath here and just attach it in each of the posts, just to kind of give it a little more stabilization here in the center. Now, I don't have to have ventilation along the entire thing, just as long as there's an area that I have ventilation, that should be sufficient. And this is, you know, about 3 feet or so of ventilation, and the same will be on the other side. So that's quite good. I'm just going to wrap this corner and then come through and just go over that a little better. I may just leave a little opening here on this side as well, just so that there's something on this end. And now come along and just smooth things out and attach this a little better. Next, we're just going to take a jip knife and cut along the bottom. Now, if you wanted to, you could leave a little excess on the bottom, and instead of stapling it to the bottom, if you've got some wood laying around, you just wanted to anchor it down with some wood, that would be totally fine as well. It's just, the main purpose of it is just to create a wind block for the chickens. To fold the ends just to give it a little extra protection. So you can see how this turned out inside. Make sure I don't lock myself in here. They've still got the ventilation along the top. There's ventilation through the top here where I have my roofing, but I also left a little area along this side, and then I've got the ventilation over here. So this should be plenty, just so that we don't have any moisture buildup in here and it's able to vent. With winter can come boredom and a lot of wet conditions. So to further winterize the coop, I'm going to take some straw, just pile it in. And I'm just going to put it in a pile, and I'm going to let them go through that and spread that around all on their own. This will just help to kind of keep things dry and give them something to do. And add a little warmth so bare ground isn't so hard on their feet. One last step that I'm going to do inside of the run is I'm going to spread some of this First Saturday lime on the ground. That just helps to prevent them from getting any lice, mites, stuff like that. So I'm just going to just sprinkle it throughout their run. And now now you want to spread this lime in here probably about once a month, once every 3 weeks. somewhere about there. You can use this inside their coop as well. Now, one thing that I did learn about this product, the First Saturday Lime, is that you cannot compost it. So I do not actually use it inside of their coop where I have their pine shavings, because I do take those pine shavings and the manure and I do put that into our compost to help enrich the soil for our garden. So I'm not using the First Saturday Lime inside of the coop, but I am using it inside of the run. Inside of the coop, I take diatomaceous earth and I sprinkle that along the perimeter of the coop. And when I do that, I make sure that it is well ventilated. I have a side door that opens up the entire side of it, and I have that open when I do that. And you should wear a mask, because those particles, those dust particles from the diatomaceous earth, can be really bad for you and your lungs, and also for the chickens. So I use it along the perimeter only, just so that they're not creating that dust with that inside of the coop and breathing that in and causing harm to them. Here is the side door that I was talking about. So this opens up, and I just use that diatomaceous earth along here. I do sprinkle a little bit on their roosting bar, and it's the same idea with the diatomaceous earth as it is with the First Saturday Lime, in that it helps to prevent lice and mites, and that is not something that we want to have in here. It is very expensive to treat the coop. I have painted the walls, caulked the cracks, tossed it on the walls themselves to help prevent any lice or mites from occurring inside of the coop. And I am actually going to clean this out now, and we're going to take these pine shavings. I'm going to stick them in the compost bin to break down over, no, actually I'm not going to put it in the compost bin. I'm going to go toss it right on top of our garden, actually, and it's just going to compost in place right there all winter. And then to further winterize the inside of the coop here, then I'm going to put a really nice thick layer of pine shavings to kind of help to insulate this. As I said earlier, our coop is raised off of the ground, and that is intentional to help with predators. And so you have that cool air from the bottom, and I don't want that coming up through the floor and making the coop colder than they can tolerate. They are cold hardy birds though, but it's just a little extra that I'm just going to add that extra barrier for them by adding about 5 inches of the pine shavings, just to kind of help insulate things a little better for them. I'm just going to put a little bit of straw into each nesting box. And we did have a issue with our nesting box lid. And we recently had rain before the snow, and some of that rain got inside of our coop, as you could see when I was cleaning that out. That's why this has been a priority for me. So that issue on the lid has mostly been fixed now, and I'm just going to put some of that same plastic that we wrapped the run in on top of the nesting box until I'm able to completely fix it and make sure that that's totally fine, because we do not want any moisture inside of the coop during winter. That's incredibly important to keep the moisture out, because it can cause the birds to get frostbite on their wattles, on their feet. That's the same reason why we don't put the water into the coop as well. We keep the water inside of the run. We just want to keep as much moisture out as possible. And with that recent leak, we want to make sure that that doesn't happen again with the snow. So this will be this layer of pine shavings that I'm going to put down. I will keep that for most of the winter. I'm going to be putting a poop board in here just to keep the pine shavings cleaner longer, and periodically just, you know, scoop out in select areas where I see buildup and put some fresh shavings down throughout winter. But I won't do like a major clean out like this again until springtime. All right, guys, thank you. It's time to wrap this up. It's getting dark and these girls need to head on in. Ain't that right, Edna? Thanks for coming along today. Hope you guys learned something, got something out of this video. See you next time.